Planet Sheen, now we're getting into the everybody hates it territory. Hold in, I know what you're asking. Why is this show here? It's not based on a movie. This is a spin-off of another show. And that other show is The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, which is based on the Jimmy Neutron movie from 2001, so that makes Planet Sheen the second animated series based on that movie. It counts. Similar to the first show in the list, I remember watching this on Nickelodeon back in 2010, but unlike the Penguin series, I watched a whole episode of Planet Sheen, not bits and pieces. I didn't mind this show during my first viewing, but again, looking back, this is pure crap. The writing is just stupid, and not Sheen stupid, but awkwardly stupid. I can tell you that this plot of a kid going to another planet is already a lazy sign due to a generic sponge out of water concept. Get it, sponge out of water, cause it's Nickelodeon. But this show does nothing clever about that, and this is where the writing gets stupid. Sheen hangs out with two aliens, one that looks like the Mem Lord himself, and another one who is a strong independent woman, and a talking monkey. And they do some random shenanigans, while ruining the plans of some wizard that's trying to kill him. That crap is the whole premise of the show. For starters, why do these two aliens look similar to Carl and Gorgeous? This is supposed to be a planet, not a freaking alternate reality. Secondly, bad guy, what are you trying to kill Sheen for? I know you're a villain cliche, but Sheen is just visiting the planet and having fun. He didn't kill your stinking wife or any alien kids Parkland shooting style or anything like that. Maybe you're being a racist. That explains why you didn't take over the world. Cause nobody in this planet was that stupid to elect their own Donald Trump as their ruler. Back onto the show, just because the villain is racist to Sheen, that doesn't mean Sheen himself isn't a problem. Keep in mind that this show is the poster child of why comic reliefs don't work in their own spin-offs, resulting in from being a funny, supportive friend to Jimmy, to the Nicktoon equivalent of Jar Jar Binks, where he is annoying, idiotic, and shows no sign of stopping his clueless actions and unfunny jokes. Speaking of unfunny, this is probably one of the most unfunny comedies that Nickelodeon could ever produce, and probably makes those teen sitcoms pale in comparison. There's just too much toilet humor here that's quite uncomfortable, especially for Nicktoon standards. Also, the other characters from Retroville didn't return to this show, and that's obvious cause Sheen came to the alien planet in a one-seat rocket. But that doesn't mean you have to introduce inferior newcomers like the Carl Weiser alien, the generic love interest, the bland king whose design looks like crap, the little robot monkey, and the racist villain. Did I mention that the villain is also the butt monkey, just like the talking monkey? The animation may have improved from the last Jimmy Neutron show, but it still looks poor, and it's thanks to the same problem as the animation of Wicked World, which is the character design and color palette. It's nice that they kept Sheen's design to stay faithful, and he looks nice, but the aliens, in the other hand, their visual festival is very uninviting. The colors don't even help, because there's too much damn purples and greens. It kind of makes Jimmy Neutron's TV shows the hoodwinked of Nicktoons, where the first one has bad animation, but with great writing to save it, and the second looks a little better, but the writing is fished up, and now there's nothing to save the bad animation. Originally, this isn't supposed to be a Sheen spin-off for Jimmy Neutron, but instead an original IP called Red Acres, and it was about a fast food employee who accidentally launches into a planet full of hillbilly aliens. Well, that sounds better than something that tells me that side characters should not have their own series, unless you can execute it well. Otherwise, you end up with a case of the Planet Sheen virus. Now, before I reach number 1, let's calm ourselves down with an honorable mention. And I do mean calm ourselves down, because I got something that's the opposite of this list, and I am going to do a rapid fire countdown within a countdown, which is for better animated series of this subject. These are shows that can better expand the worlds of our favorite movies and capture the spirit of what makes them great. So, without further ado, here's the top 10 best cartoons based on a film. Number 10, Curious George. Number 9, Unikitty. Number 8, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. Number 7, Home Adventures with Dick and Co. Number 6, The Mr. Peabody and Sherman Show. Number 5, Dragons Race to the Edge. Number 4, Big Hero 6, the series. Number 3, The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 1, The Lion Guard. Phew. Now that I gave shoutouts to the good movie shows, let's bring the big guns. Well, I know you're gonna think that I am cheating on this one, since it's technically a reboot of another cartoon, but it wouldn't exist without those hybrid movies that it's cashing in on, so it's based on them too. The show I am talking about is Alvin and the Chipmunks. This thing got on Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. in some countries back in 2015 before the Road Chip was released, and it's basically the Teen Titans Go of Nicktoons, and unlike that show, I cannot tolerate a single bit of this show. First off, the Chipmunks themselves have been completely flanderized from harmless Saturday morning cartoon pop stars to dreadfully annoying twats that cause trouble and treat Dave Seville like Chip Puke. And the Chipettes are flanderized too, from likable love interests for the Chipmunks to stereotypical mean girls. Dave himself is turned into a rip-off of Squidward tennis balls.
That's tentacles!
Whoops, I mean tentacles, where he gets treated like trapped by the chips and gets mad at them. The humor is unbearable with forgettable slapstick, cringy pop culture references and uncomfortable body jokes, especially when Theodore was doing that PP dance that I saw in the Silento promo about Nickelodeon's Labor Day Marathon back when the show premiered. Also, the voice acting is just abysmal. Literally no one is trying whatsoever, and that's what makes the characters annoying. By giving them whiny moronic voices that sound like they are on crack. The animation is terrible with generic backgrounds that rip off Toy Story, rendering that sweeter than something from YouTube, and character designs from the early 90s show that do not translate well to CGI, resulting in the Chipmunks and Chipettes looking more like tiny humans than adult chipmunks. Seriously, they should have designed these chipmunks like cartoonish versions of their hybrid film counterparts. Those look more accurate as CGI versions of the characters than what this show gave us. This show has some of the worst writing in television animation history, with stories that can make no sense, and be stuff you cannot imagine the characters doing, and events that cause their actions to be who they are in the show. The new characters happen to be so forgettable that not even their names can be memorized. The theme song is literally ripped straight from the predecessor, and the musical numbers are just as bad as the pop songs in the hybrid movies. I think I already just discussed everything wrong with this show, but how is it in comparison with other shows? It's definitely up there with Kid Danger, Fanboy and Chum Chum, and the previous show in the list as one of the worst Nicktoons, and it sure is one of the worst cartoon reboots as well, but more specifically, this incarnation of Alvin and the Chipmunks is the #1 worst cartoon based on a film. Even though it's technically a reboot of another animated series. And that is my remake of the top 10 worst cartoons based on a film. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and don't you dare forget to subscribe to my channel and like the new video. Do you want more top 10s or other stuff? Let me know. I just want you to remember that I deleted the original video because of poor list choices and glitchy editing, which didn't make me happy about the video. This is Koizi, signing out.